Hey, welcome to the BGX podcast. My name is Phil, as always, and joining me today is Faye from Meepling Around. So great to have you on the show today, Faye.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi. Thank you very much for having me. I'm good.
Wonderful.
Just finished work. I'm here. It's afternoon here in Greece now.
Right.
So just keeping it light.
Awesome. Excellent. Well, I appreciate you being on the show. Why don't you get us started off today? Just tell us kind of a little bit about you, where you're from, and help us to get to know you a little better.
First of all, congrats on your new podcast series.
Oh, well,
You
thank
know,
you very much. I appreciate that.
well, as you said, I'm Faye. I'm from Greece. And I think the reason that I'm here today is that in the last couple of months, I've been running my board game related TikTok and Instagram. So, yeah, called Meepling Around. So that's it. I used to enjoy very much editing videos and photos. So when I had the chance to get into board game and see all the assets and components that there are in the boxes, I just couldn't resist. So that's how Meepling Around was born. Me sharing my passion for photo shooting and videos and board games.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I've
Yeah.
been following your page for a little bit here, and it's exciting to see your growth and kind of see your videos coming out
Thank
a lot. How did you come up with the idea of doing your page and kind of doing have you played this game? Let me show you how. That's kind of your signature style, it seems.
Yeah, I think that okay, we've seen like how to play videos in the YouTube. There are many known YouTube artists make these things, but I didn't see like short ones, like just get a glimpse of the game before I buy something. So I thought, okay, why not? Why don't I do that?
Yeah, I mean, I love watching them. It's super informative sometimes to just like let me just get a little taste. So I'm got
Yeah.
my eye on this game. Let me get a little taste so I can see if I really want to buy it or not. So
Yeah, it's exactly that because some games are too long to be in a short film, in a short video. So just the basic things about the game that gives you the taste of what the game is what the game is about.
right.
So I think that's the point of the videos.
Yeah, love it. So talk to me about how you got into board gaming.
Well, actually, growing up in the 80s and the 90s, we didn't have the variation of games and mechanics that you find in the board game community now. So I did play some board games, but I was not much of a fan. I was more like an outdoor activity kid.
Okay.
You could point a tree and I would climb it, things like that. But I think everything started a couple of years ago, well, more than a couple now. We started playing like card games, like Exploding Kittens, and
Okay.
I thought, okay, things have changed. And then we played the Game of Thrones, which is a strategy game for those who haven't played it yet. And it reminded me of Risk, like more strategy to it. Okay, that's great. But the board game that did it for me, get into the hobby was actually Nemesis.
Oh, okay.
I Yeah, I still remember the first time that we played. It was so immersive. I remember the tension and the excitement that I had playing it. And I think after that, I just couldn't stop. It was game after game after game. You know, you know how it goes.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. It's certainly seems like an addiction at times sometimes
Yeah,
with playing games. So what have you been playing lately? What are some of the games that you've been, really enjoying?
I was enjoying Merges of the Dark Road. That came recently. I really enjoyed that. During the weekend, I played a game called Overbooked, which was really fun and easy game to play. Creatures Comfort came recently. The delivery was a couple of weeks ago. So these are the latest games in the collection.
And who do you play with typically? I mean, do you have a gaming group or somebody special who you like to share games with?
I have some friends that like two separate groups that we play. The one group it's more like D&D sessions, campaign games, and more of that thing. For example, yesterday we played the This War of Mine, the board game.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard about it.
I've actually played the video game version,
Okay.
and I haven't
Yes.
haven't gotten my hand on the board game version yet, but excited to try it.
It's similar to the
Yeah.
board game, to the video theme. the board game also. You know, the dark theme of the war, and it was actually really hard for me playing it because we were seeing situations that we see now in Europe, and I was like, no, please, maybe play something else.
Yeah, a little bit too close to home right now, I'm sure.
Yeah, so, but okay, there are the games that we play. The other group that I'm playing with, you know, we played the Overbooked board game that I told you about, and it's more like putting to the table games from our shelf of shame, as we call it. You know the term.
Yeah.
So it's like every Saturday we play games that we don't play that much or we haven't played yet.
Yeah, you gotta have a strategy to work on that shelf of shame. Otherwise, it just keeps on stacking up, right? Yeah, certainly. I think half of my shelf here behind me is part of my shelf of shame right now because I
Yeah.
just don't have a good group to play with right now. So
I didn't have that many in this shelf of shame, but recently many Kickstarters are coming, and they're coming faster than I can handle, I think.
so are you pretty plugged in with Kickstarter? Do you do a lot of backing on there?
I try not to,
Okay.
but there are some games that I just can't resist. You know, like, okay, maybe I pledge like $1 and see in the pledge manager what I will do. I'll see by then what money I can manage to put aside, you know, for the games, and I see how it goes, and I try not to put that much, but some games you just can't resist.
Yeah. So tell me about, I mean, talk to me a little bit about how you feel about the state of Kickstarter right now. You know, I've heard a lot of opinions about, you know, some of the games are getting too involved and too many miniatures, and you know, so there's a lot of opinions out there. How do you feel about the state of Kickstarter right now for games?
Well, I think that the worst thing in the Kickstarter campaigns is where there are games that give you the chance to have exclusives in the Kickstarter. Okay, that's the main goal of the Kickstarter, I think. And many companies, publishers that have games in the Kickstarter I think that they take advantage of the pledges. Like, it's a different thing if you go all into a game, you expect everything that it's unlocked to be included, right? So if there are things like you unlock stretch goals, but they are add-on later in the pledge manager, what's the point then? What's the point of the all-in pledge? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that frustrates me as for the Kickstarter.
Yeah, I kind of liken it to, you know, sort of what EA has done with video games, right? Where they'll release a game and then they have all the DLCs. They'll come out with 25 DLCs like City Skylines. You know, they came out with a base game, which is decent, but then like all the DLCs, really you want those to be able to play the game correctly, but you got to pay extra for them. And you know, it's almost that model of, you know, yeah, you can have the base game, which will be fine, but then, you know, the good stuff all, you know, unlocks at higher tiers and more money. So.
I think that's what all-in pledge is for, you know, so you can get everything. You pay extra to get everything that's going to be on Kickstarter, but sometimes that's not what happens, and I think that's not okay.
Yeah, for sure. Well, what are some games that you've backed lately that you are excited about?
I think the latest game that I backed was Tamashi. It's on Game Found from Awakened Light. Yeah, I think that's the latest one I did.
And when is that one scheduled to release?
Like a year from now.
It's like a year. Yeah.
No. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's another one of the, you know, the big drawbacks with Kickstarter. It's like so far away, and it's like you got to kind of, you know, pledge the money and then forget about it for a year or two before it arrives. Sometimes.
Some games it's okay. It's like 6 months, a year, or something. It's okay to wait like 6 months or a year. But the other ones that they say like 2 years, or they haven't even developed the game yet, so they have just the rough the idea and the basic art for you to see, take a glimpse of the game. That's the worst thing.
With as publishers hopefully get better at Kickstarter and, you know, don't take advantage of Kickstarter, it'll be interesting to see how that whole scene develops and whether it's more advanced or more developed games that are going to Kickstarter.
Yeah, there's some things that they cannot manage to be like the delivery times, or the thing that happened with the container shipments, and there are things that they cannot schedule. They cannot know it's going to happen. So it's okay if there are things that they can do to make things better.
Mhm.
I don't know if that makes any
Yeah,
sense.
no, absolutely. I mean, some things are certainly out of their control, right? But
Yeah.
having a great game is a good prerequisite, I think, for trying to get a Kickstarter going. So, talk to me about your favorite publishers, favorite designers. I mean, who do you have your eye on out there that you're really enjoying their work right now?
Uh, I have already talked about Awaken Realms. I like them as a publisher and designer company. For sure. I mean, the game development they make, the mechanics are spot on. They have a very good quality in the products. The lore behind the game is always there. Inserts, delivery times, everything that you need from a publisher. I think for me, they're doing a great job.
What are kind of some of your favorite mechanics in a game? I mean, what style of gaming do you prefer?
Well, I'm really into deck building games
Okay.
and engine building games. Trying to make the craziest combos or the best combos possible. It makes my mind explode. I have to do the min max everything to combine everything.
Mhm.
I really love them.
Yeah. So how do you keep from getting into analysis paralysis? I know especially with engine builders, that's one of the things. That's like there's so many things I could do. How do I
Yeah,
just pick which one I want to go for without everyone at the table getting frustrated?
I make every people frustrated.
Okay.
Okay, they're like, okay, let's go to grab some coffee. Let's go to the toilet. Faye's
Right. Right.
turn is now.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Certainly, it's important to have a game group that is flexible with that kind of thing. Nothing worse
it's a
than
good
playing.
thing I'm not the only one in the group. So
Right. Right. There's nothing worse than having that one person at the table who's like, "All right, come on, it's been a minute. You make your choice." It's like you're not looking at all your options clearly because
a minute, it's not that much.
right, right. That's right. That's right. Yeah. It's funny. My wife she loves games where you're on a clock, where it's like, you got to think fast. She loves like the quick word
Mhm.
games where you got to grab the words really quick. And I am the opposite. Like I want to sit there and think about my turn before I make a decision. So when we play a game, if it's got like a minute sand timer or something, she's in heaven and I'm usually, tail spinning.
There's not much analysis paralysis when you're on clock.
That's right. So, what do you do outside of board gaming? I mean, what's your day job?
Well, the truth is that I'm usually running a lot of projects at the same time. My main income comes working as a part-time kindergarten teacher,
Okay.
but I do work as an independent graphic designer as well. With various companies and fashion designers, making some patterns for the prints. I did collaborate with the board game company, an indie board game publisher,
Mhm.
on their game development team. I mostly did the art and animations for the game they were developing. So that's it, I think. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. So as a graphic designer, then does the art in your games, I mean, does that matter to you a lot? Or, if you have a game that's kind of lacking on the art, does that make a difference for your enjoyment of that game?
Well, I really enjoy games that have attention to details, like small hints about the characters or maybe some Easter eggs about the game. But I think that the theme of the game, it can if they have good aesthetic and it suits the theme of the game, it doesn't matter if it's a doodle or a great piece of art. It has to match the game. That's my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, I totally agree with you. I think, some games, I think of the game Boss Monster. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but it's a card game, and it's all pixel art. So, some would
Okay.
say like, oh, it's not great art, but the pixel art is amazing. I mean, there's a lot of detail in it. There's a lot of things there, even though the graphic quality is lower.
It doesn't matter. It's
Yeah,
just the
right.
game.
It looks great. Yeah, so I think I agree with you. It's definitely about, it's got to fit within the theme of the game, and it makes you feel sort
Yes.
of retro when you play.
What do you think about board games that have art from, let's say, if it's a movie theme, like a movie already published,
Yeah.
like in the cinemas, and there is a game about it? Do you like when they have like scenes from from the movie or from the actors, or do you like it? Because I had a
I mean,
debate
yeah, I think
about that.
I think it's interesting. Like we got Harry Potter House Cup edition. It's right here behind me, and they have the prints of the actual actors from the movie on the cards, and it's okay, but I would have also been okay with like more of an art, like a drawn art on that as well. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's I guess it's personal preference, but I'm not really sure where I fall on that one. What about for you?
I actually hate it.
Okay, okay,
It's the Harry Potter
yeah,
games, okay, but there are other games as well. Like, I don't want to say names, but
right, yeah. Well, Harry Potter. I mean,
I
there's a ton of games out there, right? So we can
yes,
definitely pick on them a little bit.
I think they could do like, it's okay if you take a scene from the movie, but you make a drawing out of it, or maybe have a sketch of the actor. Okay, but not the actual scene, like a photo of the scene. I think, okay, do some extra work.
Right, right. Yeah, it feels like they're just sort of trying to capitalize on the success of the franchise and just get some games
The
sold.
front side is there. You have the IPs for the game.
Right, right, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What's your thought on that? On when a popular movie comes out and they make a board game adaptation. I like The Office and Shark Tank. I mean, they've come out with games, and I
Well,
mean, at
if it's
least
a
in my
good
opinion, it
game,
doesn't seem like they worked very hard on getting them out the door.
yeah, if it's a good game, it's okay. I don't mind. But sometimes they don't do the extra mile, for the game. They just make something, basic mechanics,
Right.
just throw it on the shelves and let people buy it.
Yeah.
But there are games, for example, the Dice Through Time, Back in Time, the
Okay.
Back to the Future Back in Time.
Yeah.
I don't know if you played it because there are two. The Back in Time one, it's for people that have seen the movies. It's a very enjoyable game for me. Growing up in the 80s,
Right.
I really loved the movie. So playing the game had me like I was feeling like I was there, trying to make George and Lorraine fall in love. But for someone that maybe is younger or have never seen the movies, maybe they won't like it as much as I did.
Mm,
So depends on the theme, maybe.
yeah.
But they have to do the work to make a good game, even if it's taken from a movie or a TV series. It doesn't matter. If it's a good game, it's a good game.
Yeah, yeah. I totally agree. I think you said it best. They sort of package one mechanic and then just get it on the
Yeah,
shelf with the right title, right? And then it's like, okay, this is if you can call this a game, I guess, but
yeah,
it
right.
feels more like just a hack. So you mentioned a little bit about D&D. Are you an active D&D player in RPGs?
We do play RPG games. Yeah, we've tried many types. Like we've tried the Pokemon RPG, Marvel Heroes RPG. We tried the Zombie Apocalypse and even the Wild West once. And now we're waiting for the Terminator. I don't know if you heard about the crowdfunding that was I think it was on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
But we do play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons mostly.
Good. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
What's your character? I mean, give us your little bio if you could.
Well, my favorite character was a ninja halfling
Okay.
I once made. It was a Gestal character. I don't know if you know Gestal characters. I play 3.5, so many 5e players will throw shame on me. But I did like a ninja rogue, let's say ninja.
Mhm.
I like the invisibility part.
Right.
Like, I'm now playing a monk, a human monk,
Okay.
for the latest campaign that we are on.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you play RPG games? Do you play D&D?
I'm trying to get into it. So I've been looking for recommendations locally to get into a group, and I haven't found any yet. So I'm desperately trying to get started. As a kid, I was a big band geek. So I was in band. My dad was the band director, like the whole 9 yards. So I was like the band geek central. So I was always hanging out with kids who played RPGs and D&D. But for some reason, I never got invited. So yeah, sad tears.
Don't worry, there's still time.
At some point, I'm sure somebody will invite me to play, and then I'll get to get into the table. So
even for me, I didn't play games like when I was young. I played like 7 years ago. It's for the first time.
Yeah.
So it's still time.
Yeah. Well, I'm opening a shop, so at the very least, when that opens, then I'll be able to, join some of my customers and like, hey, I'm
watching the progress.
Right. You played at my place, I'm playing with you. So, well, Faye, if people want to find your pages or want to learn more about you, where can they go?
Well, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok, Meepling Around. Soon, I think maybe YouTube, but until now, Instagram and TikTok it is.
Awesome. And if somebody's out there and they see what you do and they love it and they want to get into content creation around board games, what would be your advice to them? What advice would you provide to people looking to get into what you do?
Well, there are many content creators, so be yourself would be the first thing. You have fun. Just do what you do. Don't be afraid to expose yourself. If you want to go into this industry or into content creator, you have to show yourself and have a talk with the other person watching your content. I think that's the main thing.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. The community building, I think, is maybe the most underrated part of content creation right now. You got to reply to your comments. You got to get in there and talk to other creators and build that community up. I think
the board game I think the board game community is very open.
Yeah.
For example, it doesn't matter if you do something like professionally or you do it for fun. They embrace you. It's a very beautiful community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's Faye from Meepling Around. Thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate your time, and you can check her out on TikTok and Instagram, and make sure to like and follow for more.
Thank you very much. Bye.